All right. Welcome, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to the June 2nd, 2024 edition of Speaking of Zane. It's the 282nd edition of Speaking of Zane. We've been at it for some time now. Let's see who we've got on deck. Daryl is in there. Dan Jeffers is in there. Lori is in there. My dad, Mac Marine, is in there. Good to see you. Ken Pesic is in there. Carl Kios is in there. My friend Bridget is in there. Hey, Bridget, how are you? Jimbo Miller's in there from up near Omaha, Nebraska. All right, good to have you all in there. I know we'll have some others join along the way. We have others watch the recording. But good to have you all in there tonight. Let's see what the heck is going on here. Happy birthday to Ken. Ken had a birthday this past week. So happy birthday, Ken. And Max Andrews, one of Zane's battle buddies, had a birthday this past week. Happy birthday, Max. Max was one of the last of Zane's army buddies to see him alive. He was with us. What was it, Lori? He was with us over, I remember if it was Christmas into New Year's, maybe. He was staying with us for a week or so. I guess about a month before Zane passed. Yeah, over New Year's. But and we have seen Max a couple of times, obviously at the funeral, but we've seen Max a couple of times since then, living up in Ohio now, I believe. And happy anniversary to my in-laws, Stan and Carol. It is their 40th anniversary. They got married the same year that Lori and I got married. Incredible. And you all probably know the story by now. Lori's mother came to Lori's basic training graduation, met Stan, who was one of her TIs, fell in love, ended up getting married. The rest is history. It's crazy. It's an incredible story that you just almost can't believe, but that's the way it happened. So happy anniversary. What else is going on? I'll tell you what, I got a package in the mail today that I wasn't expecting, and I'll share with you the contents of said package. Very special item indeed. And I appreciate Ken, because I know this is a limited edition coin, challenge coin. And you guys know that I have created some challenge coins, and I collect challenge coins. It's a bigger thing in the military today than it was when most of us were in, but it does have a rich heritage. But this challenge coin was given to me by Ken. And let me see if I can, there's a, oh shoot, this light, let me, I want you to see this one side has the American flag and the four branches of the military as they were in December of 1941. And the other side is where it gets really special. Sons and daughters, Pearl Harbor survivors. And Ken gave me this, and Ken is the son of a Pearl Harbor survivor. We've heard the story of Ken's father. The last couple of Pearl Harbor days, where we've highlighted, and I think the first year we had Ken read or tell the story of his father. He writes a very nice update that he publishes, but we had him tell that story on Speaking of Zane. And then last year, I don't think Ken was available. Ken, remind me, I don't think this last December you were available, and I think I told the story of your father using your narrative. But yeah, we'll never forget that, Ken, and I appreciate that. I'm adding that very proudly to my collection, so thank you for that. Well, let's see what else is going on around here. Travel. You guys know I've been busy lately traveling. Let's see. I went to New Orleans, came home, went to Tokyo, came home, went to St. Louis, came home. Last week, I went out to Santa Clara, stayed in San Jose, flew into San Francisco, stayed in San Jose, had this workshop I was attending in Santa Clara at the headquarters of a company called NVIDIA. NVIDIA, they're sort of the premier manufacturer of GPUs and are very heavily involved in artificial intelligence and whatnot. And we're a company I work for is a big partner of theirs. So I went out for a workshop, some training to become an AI advisor. And more importantly than that is to bring that content back to the academy that I run and make sure that all our students going forward get much of the same content from the very beginning. So I had a good time out there. It's been a little while since I was out in Silicon Valley, but I've been going there since 1999 when I got the job with Cisco Systems and went out there for new hire orientation and have been going back and forth ever since. And this was the first trip out there, I think, since COVID. But always enjoyed out there. California is such a beautiful state. It really is. It's just that it's the politics and the leadership and all that stuff. Anyway, you guys know the thing. But let's see. What else is going on? Yeah, so I was out there. Had a good few days out there. Flew back Thursday on the red eye, Thursday night, Friday morning on the red eye. I needed to get back because I was a guest speaker on a company-wide call that that we have on Friday. So I made it back to Atlanta before 5 in the morning and Ubered back to the house and got to see my little granddaughter who spent the night and hang out with her for a few minutes and get a shower, get all cleaned up, get dressed again, and was able to make my speaking slot. And then managed to stay awake all the way till the evening. Our little grandson Everett came over and hung out with me for a little bit in the afternoon. Yeah, isn't that right, Bridget? Man, can you imagine jumping on that early? They have really, they've got a product that is in such demand. Every major corporation, every entity is in pursuit of the widgets that they make to enable their AI. But all right, well, let's see what else is going on. So tomorrow, so my travel's not over. Tomorrow I'm heading, where am I going tomorrow? To Las Vegas. So I mentioned this before, I'm going out to Las Vegas for an annual conference. Now I've been going to Vegas since about 2000 regularly. It's not my favorite place, but I always make the best of it. but I'm going out there for a conference trade show kind of thing with Cisco Systems, and they actually invited me to come because their veterans employee organization and our veterans employer, they want to do some collaborating. So we're going to do that. We're going to have a happy hour with veterans from both companies. We're going to do some planning on what's possible for our two companies in regard to our veterans employees. It's a pretty exciting thing. I'm happy to be involved in something that's never been done between our two companies. We're each other's biggest and strongest partners. So it only makes sense. But anyway, I'm going out there, and tomorrow afternoon, evening, I'll be doing some things with the veterans out there. And then on Tuesday and Wednesday, I'm kind of free floating a little bit, and I've got a couple of shifts in our booth. So I'll be a booth babe for a couple of hours on Wednesday, and then again on Thursday, which will be fun. And and then Wednesday night, they always wrap up the last day with a concert of some kind. And Wednesday night at, I think it's Allegiant Stadium, we're getting a concert by Elton John. I have never seen Elton John. So that'll be fun. Phil Blue's in there. Hey, buddy. Phil was a fellow airman, and actually, I think Phil managed our shop there. Phil was an instructor of mine when I went through tech school at Keesler in '82, and then Phil was my manager. He led our shop at Mildenhall for a couple of years. And then, of course, he's retired many years ago. But Phil, good to have you in there. I still stay in touch a little bit on Facebook with Androsky. I think you probably do too. But in fact, he's over in Europe right now. I saw that he visited the cemetery at Normandy. Of course, this is the 80th anniversary of D-Day coming up. And they're having a lot of different celebrations, and of course, he goes to Europe quite a bit anyway. But all right, well, let's see. So I'll be in Vegas this week. Get home sometime on Thursday, and then I do have another St. Louis trip planned for June the 11th through the 14th. I'm going to St. Louis and having my team together there, do a little planning. So that'll be good. Okay, Lori, remember Sergeant Blue? All right. Okay, well, let's see what else is going on around here at the fabulous McDonald Estate and Insane Asylum. Braves, you guys know I'm a big Braves fan, and we cannot watch, those of us that have Comcast cannot watch the Braves anymore. Haven't been able to for a couple of months now because of that whole Bally Sports and Comcast argument and everything. So I've been listening to them on the radio. They haven't been doing that great. They did okay against the A's, interleague play. Oakland was in town, but they're still 7 games behind the Phillies. So the Braves need to get a little catch up going before the All-Star break. But anyway, I'll never give up on them. They're a good come from behind team for sure, and I do enjoy listening to them. All right, there's my buddy Ed in there from Dallas. Ed, we've talked about Carry the Load several times on here. Kudos to you and the whole Carry the Load team for what you guys did in the month of May. Just fantastic. For those who don't know about Carry the Load, just go Google it. Go search Carry the Load and you see what they do. And I had the opportunity to meet Ed and see Ed a couple of times over the last 4 or 5 years. But he's an absolute patriot. And I appreciate him and everything that he and the others for Carry the Load do. And look forward maybe to seeing Ed. Now, Ed, last year, Ed didn't come through on the Georgia trip, so didn't get to see him then. And then he was through on the Georgia trip, but I didn't get to see him because I was out of town. So we'll have to see what next week brings us there, Ed. But appreciate you. All right. Well, let's see. Yeah, Dan. Yeah, I'll be cranking up the CWS stuff here shortly. I wish I could get out there to Omaha to see some games this year. I have done quite a few times over the last number of years. I enjoy the College World Series and see how things go this year. All right. Well, let's see. I did not. Oh, hat of the week, hat of the week, hat of the week. You guys know I'm a hat guy, and I've always got new hats coming and going. And every week I try to wear a hat that coincides with something that we've got going on around here, something coming up. And I had a couple of hats from my Japan trip. Last week, I wore my new favorite Japanese baseball team, the Tokyo Yokel Swallows. I wore that hat. But I also picked up another hat at when I went to the Yushukan Military Museum there. I picked up this Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force cap. How about that? Isn't that cool? Now, people see me walking through Kroger or Lowe's with this, won't know what to think, will they? But that is the hat of the week, the JMSDF. They call themselves the Japanese Self-Defense Force. This is the aviation wing. How about that? Hat of the week. Okay. Well, let's see what the heck is going on. I did not pull any this week in military history items. So if anybody knows of any significant events in military history that occurred last week or this coming week, put them in the chat. And then we'll move on to the Veteran Cemetery Challenge. We had a couple of visits this week. I know Daryl, tell me, did you make one or two visits to Jefferson Barracks? And I've got my dad down and my sister down, always visits to Evergreen where my mom is. And then Jim, I saw your note there. Jim completed his visit to St. John Cemetery where his wife Deb is buried. And then to Omaha National Cemetery, which is very convenient for him because evidently it sits between him and Offutt Air Force Base. So when he goes to the base for whatever, he passes by there. So he's a frequent visitor and he stops by there to see our friends, Roy and Todd and Corporal Page, who was killed in Afghanistan. So appreciate that. Yeah, Dan, you're right. Yeah, coming up this week will be, what is it, June 4th, anniversary of D-Day? But yep, 80 years. Okay, well, let's see. What else do we got going here? I think that's all I had for Veteran Cemetery Challenge. That made 6 visits that we had this week. Yeah, the 6th. Okay, June 6th. Yeah, thank you for that, guys. So we are sitting at 1,190 visits to a cemetery where there's a veteran that somebody from this group has made a visit to. You know, I didn't count Tony's visit to Normandy, but I did highlight that. But yeah, so we've made visits to, think about this. We've been doing this for 4 or 5 years now. But this little group of people has visited 188 different cemeteries where veterans are buried and honored. How about that? That's pretty cool. So thank you guys for doing that with us. And when you do that, letting us know about it so we can share it with everyone. Lori says she'll be going out to Georgia National this week. Let's see. I think trying to remember. They're going to be picking up the flags. I don't know if they did that yesterday, if they're doing that next Saturday. I'll have to look and see. I'm a little out of touch on that. I should know that. But every cemetery where they placed flags for Memorial Day, they have to pull them back up, and they always look for volunteers to do that. So I'll go check for Georgia National, but I don't know if they did it this Saturday, then they would have only been out for a week. I'm thinking that must be next Saturday, but anyway, I'll figure it out. All right, so on the thank you department, Ken's throwing some thank yous in there. Ken had a police officer in Jupiter, Florida. How about that? Hey, Ken, you didn't happen to see Steve when he was in town, did he? Did you? Was he there for a very quick visit? I saw something about that, but I don't know if you guys were able to connect. Maybe he was in transit on his way to the cruise you're talking about. I don't know. I didn't see. So Ken had law enforcement. Oh, I just blanked out my screen here. Let me make sure I'm still with you. There we go. Oh, is that right, Daryl? I thought they left him for at least a week. And if it's a week, then it would have been yesterday that they took the flags up at Georgia National. Yeah, okay. So yeah, that makes sense, Ken. Yeah, I think you told me that before. Your son lives down there. Okay, well, I got you added there for the thank yous. That increases our, I'll tell you what I think I know. And you guys can put in the chat. Got Ken with one. I had two this week. In the group that I was in this class with, one of the guys was Air Force, and another guy was a Marine, and I gave them both one of our. They both worked for the same company. I gave them one of our employee resource group challenge coins that I had made. So that was fun. One guy's named John. I'll see John again this week in Las Vegas, in fact, and the other guy's called Sean, the Marine. All right, and then Carl posted that and we didn't get it captured last week, but at the Memorial Day service, he had 3 Army thank yous and 2 Marine thank yous. So if I add all that up, we had 9 thank yous since we were last together, and we're at 2,802. So we are less than 200 thank yous away from 3,000 thank yous. Remember when we had the 2,000 thank you banner made? Actually, remember when we had the 1,000 banner? We had a 1,000, then we revised it to 2, and now we're approaching 3 already. Less than 200 thank yous away from 3,000 thank yous. So appreciate you guys doing that alongside of us. It's a good feeling to strike up a conversation with a fellow veteran and let them know that you appreciate them. There's Mary. Hey, Aunt Mary, good to have you in there. Okay, well, let's see. Thank you guys for the veteran cemetery visits and the thank yous. Let's move on to the organizations. I already mentioned my friend Ed there. They wrapped up that effort, which was about a month-long effort to carry the load, folks. They wrapped that up on Memorial Day. Let's see, we got Running to Honor next month already. At the end of July, we're going to participate in a 5K called Running to Honor. And that's our friend Aaron up in Michigan holds that. And we participated for 4 or 5 years now. Now this year we'll be in London, so we may be the first international participants in the Running to Honor 5K. That'll be fun. What else? My worst place. Man, we are overdue for a visit down there. I really want to get down there. But I've got good news. You know, me and some of my colleagues at work who are also veterans, we look after Kelly's wireless network, which is basically a wireless umbrella over the property. And every now and there's problems, and I monitor it. I can see everything. I can tell what's up, what's down, throughput, all that stuff. But if we ever need to go out there for some reason, I'm 8 hours away, but I've got some local guys who can make it, but usually they can't make it for 2 or 3 days. Well, we got a guy that Kelly introduced me to who's just a few miles away from my Warriors place. He's an Air Force veteran and he's also an IT nerd. His name is Chris, and he and I have been corresponding, and I'm going to do a brain dump to him, get him totally up to speed on everything there so that he can help me manage the network, and he can go out there anytime we need to. If something physical is wrong or something that needs to be looked at or connected or rebooted or whatever, he can go. But he and I were supposed to have a video session today, but he ended up having to work. He's a contractor now, and he works at the Air Force base down there. But anyway, look forward to syncing up with him, uh, basically transferring all this knowledge about the network. I mean, it seems it's a little more complicated than some think. I mean, there's an umbrella that covers the network, and there's a particular way that we have these access points connected. There's 8 of them. There's different different things to take into consideration, monitoring and this, that, and the other. But anyway, I'm glad to have somebody else local that's close to give me a hand there. So I'll let you know how that progresses. But I feel so overdue for a visit down there. I just don't know when I'm going to be able to get one in. All right. Well, I think that is about it. I know we had I have this section called Heroes Lost or Wounded, and we chronicle anytime there's an accident or a death, primarily so that we can acknowledge the service and sacrifice for those who die in the line of duty. Um, but I don't have anything to report this week. Um, but there was an F-20 or an F-35 that crashed in Arizona. It was a Marine Corps F-35, but I believe the pilot got out, and the pilot was not an active duty. He was a contractor. He was probably a veteran, but he was a contractor. And I think he got out, but the F-35 crashed. But that's the only thing I can recall hearing this week. But if you guys know of any, certainly put them in the chat or let me know. But okay, well, I think that's about all I've got this week. I appreciate you guys coming along. The main reason for this is to make sure that the name Zane McDonald is not forgotten. And I'll feel good, um, when I draw my last breath, that I've at least done my part to make sure that he's not forgotten, and men and women like him are not forgotten, whether they died on the battlefield or after. And then even beyond that level of sacrifice, acknowledging, like we do every week, those that have served. I mean, it's a fraction of the population that steps up to do it, and we're a relatively small portion of the population, and we ought to stick together for sure. And that's what I do at my job with this group, with the group at work you hear me talking about. But that's what we do here together as well, is stay together, stay united, support each other, so that we don't have other Zanes, who fall victim to the circumstances he found himself in. At least do our part to try to prevent that. Lori penned something very powerful and eloquent. Go to the Speaking of Zane Facebook group, and she's got a way of putting what's in her heart in words, and I couldn't agree more with what she wrote there. But go take a look at that if you have a chance. But all right, folks, I'm up. My Uber's picking me up at 8:30 in the morning, so I'm going to try to get packed. Lori did my laundry for me. She's great at that. That's one less thing I have to worry about. when I'm home in between trips, and I just have to pack the suitcase back up. But I'm going to go do that and be out the door in the morning. But Bridget, thank you for that. You're a patriot. I appreciate you stopping by, and appreciate and love every one of you, and look forward to seeing you again next Sunday night for what will be the 83rd edition of Speaking of Zane. We'll look forward to seeing you all then. Take care.